Good evening, everyone. I want to welcome you all to the regular meeting of the Historic District Review Board, November 20th, 2018. Have a roll call, please. Joe Fair.
Susan Iron.
Okay, we have a quorum. A moment of silence, please. And stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Had a chance to look at the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections that you see to be made?
No.
If there is none, I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda for November 20th, Historic District Review Board.
And I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes from the September meeting, excuse me, the October 23rd meeting. Do you see any corrections that needed to be made?
We did not. I make a motion that we approve the Historical District Review Board regular meeting October 23rd minutes.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. New business. 616 Strawberry Street. I think that was Mr. Manning's project. And he is not here. Okay. We're going to skip over that then. In the event he comes in. If he doesn't, we'll take it up at the end of our new business. All right. .300 block of Washington Avenue, tax map, and parcel number 83A1-9-A1. I believe that was also a project from Mr. Manning. We're going to move that to the end of new business. Okay, 504 Plum Street. If you don't mind stating your name for the record, please.
Sure, my name is Rebecca Geary. I live next door.
Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about your project, please?
Absolutely. So there is a lot at 504 Plum Street. There was a home there previously. It was demolished before I purchased it. Upon purchasing it and having a survey done, it was determined about the size of the lot was not a standard 25 feet. So I received a variance in order to put a 15-foot wide home there, reducing the setbacks on each side, which actually are larger setbacks than some of the other homes that are currently there, so in the previous home. The home itself, and I apologize, I left my plans at home and I came from Norfolk, so I don't have them, is a 2 1/4 story. The first floor is a standard living room, dining room, kitchen with a sun porch, 4-season porch on the back actually, and a fireplace. The second floor is a master suite floor that's all that's on that floor is a master bedroom with a master bath and closets. And then the third floor has 2 bedrooms and a shared bath, and there's a washer and dryer on the second floor as well.
It's a very narrow house, isn't it?
It is, but it's more like a Baltimore row home type
Yes.
thing, you know, so it's an opportunity to be creative, and Luke calls it a dollhouse. There's a lot of opportunities to be creative when you have a home like that, to make arrangements. That's the idea of the second floor master suite, instead of, putting multiple bedrooms there. That kind of just allows for the extra space.
Right.
The siding is hardy board. There's transom windows that are used in various locations to allow sunlight in, but not the full-size windows. The porches, there's a front porch and then there's a second-story porch. The second-story porch will be screened in, but it'll follow the rules where the screening will be on the inside, because I know that's one of the requirements. And that'll be the vinyl. It's not going to be wood, the pillars and things.
Oh, okay, so there'll be a vinyl or composite material
Yes.
for the porch post,
Yes,
the railings.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
And it looks like it's got a standing seam metal roof on it?
yes.
Okay. And you said hardy?
Yes,
Flat
hardy board.
siding. I'm looking at the plans.
It's a brick chimney
submitted.
in the back,
Oh, it will be a brick chimney.
yes.
Okay.
Well, actually,
The plans say,
cost-wise, now that you mention it, originally we had a brick chimney, then we changed it in order to say that.
plans say
So I think
hard.
it's gonna be covered with hardy board, it's gonna be brick mantle inside. So it'll
Okay,
be
well,
brick
so
mantle and then
The
outside.
plans as shown call for a parged chimney.
Yes, yeah, that's right.
So that won't be covered with hardy board, that would be
No.
hard
Just the, like,
over block or something
yes,
like that.
yeah, my mistake, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm thinking of the, inside when you're looking at it, it'll be brick.
Right.
So is that an indoor-outdoor
Yes, it is.
fireplace
Mhm.
on the back?
The window schedule will be 6/1 as shown in the drawing?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's just some
Transoms.
smaller 4-light windows,
Mhm.
okay, which I assume are bathroom or kitchen.
And also to allow for placement of furniture but still have light, so because there's such a small homes, you need more of the wall space.
Right.
So Luke had suggested that in order to still have light, but be able to put a sofa or, some piece of furniture there without having to block the windows.
Okay. So you'll have 3 full floors of living space?
It's 2 1/4 because they have do you see the things that come out
The
the side?
dormers?
Yeah, the dormers allow it to do the required 4 feet up that's needed in order to make
Okay.
that space.
Okay, so at either end, at the front and back end of the house, where the roof line, it's a full roof line, without the dormers, that'll just be storage space?
It just not usable. But it was what allowed us, to be able to actually have walls in the room instead of a slant, the heavy slant that you would have.
Okay. It looks like the foundation is also parged?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And it'll have the flood things and those gates.
And then you said the porch posts are shown as large square posts.
And they kind of narrow on the second floors to make it more architectural
Yeah.
appealing. It's not as an extreme.
No, it looks nice.
Yeah.
Looks good. So, and they'll be vinyl clad, vinyl wrapped, and then just to reiterate what I said earlier, the railings and balusters will also be vinyl? Okay.
Vinyl composite or vinyl sleeve?
I don't know. I know there's different grades and different quality. But I don't know that we've gotten to that point within the decision-making process with the roof. He was explaining, you know, that there's some very cheaper vinyls out there, which he doesn't use, so. But I apologize for that one. I guess I'm not intending it to be wood that's then covered, if that's what you mean.
Right.
No, okay.
Okay, and obviously it shows the screening inside.
Yes, I was well aware that that's the requirement.
The front door looks to be
Standard.
like a 9-light glass French type door.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, nothing out of the ordinary there.
Well, the steps also are shown to be wood steps.
I guess if they show to be wooden, then I guess that they
Well, that's
are,
what it
but I
looks
can't
like. That's what it looks like. It
can't
doesn't,
understand why they would do
it
that.
doesn't state.
Yeah, we may not have included that, I can make
Okay.
note of that. Is that the front or
The
the?
front steps,
front?
yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
I would suggest that, you know, if this is approved tonight, that even though it's a relatively minor, could be a minor change from wood to masonry, because their steps are just not that big, that you verify that with the town planner.
Okay.
If that, you know,
And I heard there's
changes.
a new one
There'll be a new town planner starting,
Next Thursday.
next Thursday.
yes, so we want to make sure that's, you know, they know what's going on.
Okay. I guess I need to know too, because I actually don't know now that you mentioned it. I think it's one of the things we need to look at.
Okay.
There's an outside shower, but it's not enclosed because of the narrowness of the
I see.
lot. And it's
Mhm.
suggested that that just be left open, but a place more to like rent off. And
Right, exactly. See that?
The question about the fireplace.
Okay,
Given the variance for the narrow lot, does that still comply, Larry, with fire codes for burning outdoors?
It's a building department question.
Okay.
Then there's some question about the window placement on the sides as well.
for egress.
Correct.
There are questions that Jeb would.
Yeah, that'll be at plan review.
Right, okay. Okay, so we're gonna, you know, we're approving this as it's presented tonight. And then the code official will
Have to make it work.
make whatever
Mhm.
changes are needed.
Do you come back when those changes are made? How does that work at that point?
It has, I suspect that the changes were significant enough, it would be brought back before the board, but the way that's worked in the past is Jeb has reviewed it, made his changes, the town planner, and who sits at these meetings, kind of approves it, and, you know, it works.
And you guys are notified through that process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, do you have any questions?
No.
Susan, you have any further questions?
No.
All right, if there's no other questions, we have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the application for the certificate of appropriateness for construction of the new single-family dwelling at 504 Plum Street. And that it'll be run through Jeb about the fireplace and
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed, none.
Thank you very much
Good luck with your
Thank you.
project.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, tax map and parcel 83A1-1-54/the 500 block of Jefferson Avenue.
I think that's me. Wow.
The 500 block of Jefferson Avenue.
It's lot 54.
You don't
Lot
mind
54?
stating your name for the
John
record?
Wycliffe.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your project.
Okay, we are looking to build a new two-story house, roughly 1,900 square feet. And you have a copy of the plans that I dropped off, I guess.
Yes,
You do?
lot 54.
Lot 54, yes. So, let's see. So we're gonna do vinyl siding. Front
Vinyl
porch.
lap or vinyl composite?
I'm sorry, what was the choice?
Vinyl lap or vinyl composite?
It's vinyl lap. And the roof will be, just asphalt shingle, architectural type. Front porch we're gonna do a gray composite decking, like a Trex type of decking
Okay.
with the white PVC railings.
Mhm.
And that'll be the front steps as well. Will be like that.
Okay.
And then the rear deck will be the same as the front porch. The foundation walls would be that, you call it the curbs or the finished cement
Parts.
parts.
Right.
Yeah. Roof. And that's pretty much what I got there.
Okay. So looking at the front elevation, it's got the full width porch and a hip roof. Tapered porch post sitting on the foundation that I'm assuming it's the same foundation from grade to the porch post, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So will that part of the porch structure, will that also be parged with the,
The front of it facing the street?
well, yeah, and then will that be parged to match the foundation? It looks different in your drawing, it looks like it's, it almost looks like it's a panel or,
I think I'm probably the front facing the street would probably do like a lattice, some type of horizontal composite on the front there, just to kind of make it look a little better than the sides facing the front.
so you're talking about the foundation itself? I'm talking about the, there's a term that's escaping me, where the porch posts are sitting on those piers.
Yeah, the architect drew it that way, but I think they'll stop at the top of the deck, on top of the porch. Instead of, it kind of looks like it's coming in front of the foundation.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do it that way. I think they'll just sit on top of the porch,
Okay, so the
holding
post,
up the roof.
so the post then will go from the roof line
Yeah,
or the beam to the porch floor and
yes,
sit on the porch floor.
yes,
Okay,
yeah.
and will they will be tapered, as they're showing us a pretty
yeah,
substantial taper, but they will be tapered.
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I enter Ms.
Yes, ma'am.
Stroop's comments into record? She said, for the 500 block of Jefferson, we have said that we do not want vinyl used on new buildings, and allowing this property to have vinyl is only going to result in further confusion and more people demanding that we give them permission for vinyl.
And that was from Ms. Drew?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So is that, you're saying all new homes being built that can have vinyl siding? Because I've worked on a lot of houses in the area.
No, well, the board in our guidelines state pretty clearly that vinyl siding is not to be used, but we run into direct conflict with the planning commission that allows vinyl siding to be used. And until that is resolved, the planning commission's guidelines override ours. So as much as it pains me and it pains this board to approve vinyl siding on new construction, we have much greater latitude in old work, restoration and rebuilding. Since there is that conflict, we have made those allowances for new construction. Again, the board would be more desirous to see something like hardy plank or some other material used, but until that issue is reconciled between our guidelines and the planning commission's, the zoning guidelines, it is what it is.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you if it was vinyl or vinyl composite.
Yeah, this
There's
is
a lot
vinyl
more
wrap.
latitude with a molded vinyl composite product. And it's more consistent
Yeah.
with the historic district.
Yeah.
So that would always be my recommendation if you were not wanting to do wood or natural material, to go with a solid vinyl composite material or cement fiberboard or something that looks like wood.
Mhm.
It's a molded product.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
I like the vinyl siding.
I mean about it being consistent with the rest of town.
Yeah, I'm looking at a budget too, though, you know, so. Maybe, you never know, if I get a good price and the numbers can come in for that, then I would consider that, but, I mean, I think vinyl siding is a little bit more affordable.
Well, as I mentioned, there is that disparity between our guidelines and the zoning code. Again, and, it would be this board's desire that you do something other than vinyl siding, but where we are now, it's, I don't think we feel compelled to require that at this time until the disparity between us and the zoning,
Yeah.
planning and zoning rectified. The window schedule, it's a 3/1. That's going to be consistent with your drawings.
Yes.
The smaller windows are just a 3 light. Okay. And it looks like you have a decorative drip edge and some type of molding, a window cap.
Yes, that's on top, yes.
Okay. And then the window and door casing will be, will be a wide material.
Yeah, flat, wide, round, like picture frame type of thing around.
Right.
Each one.
And that, what material do you anticipate to use for that?
AZAC?
An AZAC material?
Yeah.
Okay. And the same for the house corners,
Yeah, it'll be all white.
okay, the soffit and fascia, AZAC
Yes.
as well?
Mhm.
Okay. The railings and porch posts.
The railings, yeah, they're all PVC, and then the post will either be a PVC or an AZAC material.
And they'll be the same in the back.
Yes. And the same with the steps too, the steps from the deck and the front steps, that will be the same material as the deck boarding, that composite trucks type boarding.
Okay. You said you're gonna use an architectural shingle. And the house has 2 bump outs. One is on the first floor to the,
The fireplace.
okay, so that's like a gas log or
Yeah, it'll be a gas fireplace.
non-venting?
I think it'll be vented. We'll have a little vent there coming out the back, the rear of that.
Okay, so that would be on the side. Okay, and then the other side, which
The left
would be the. Yeah, would be
That's the stairwell.
That's the stairwell, it
Mhm.
pumps out.
Yeah, those are the 2 windows to give some light into the stairwell.
Okay. And it appears that the architect drew a little, like a lamb's ear or some decorative element at the bottom of that stairwell on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, some kind of,
That would look
yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
That would be nice if that's carried through.
Okay.
So in the fireplace, that's also being clad in vinyl, and then there'll be a vent punched through it?
Yes. Or whatever the code is, if it has to have a piece of AZAP or some other material around the vent cap for whatever purpose that is, it'll be to code.
The front door, it's shown as a 3-panel with a transom.
That's probably look like that, you know, that might change a little bit, but, we're kind of going for that look with the transom on top and the,
Yeah, it carries over, obviously, you noted that French doors in the rear of the house,
Mhm.
transom light.
yeah.
Okay. And again, as I mentioned to the previous applicant, all we can do is approve these plans as presented. So
Mhm.
if there's a change like that, you're gonna need to go speak to the town planner,
Okay.
or any substantial change.
Mhm.
I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't want to see you coming back in here asking for forgiveness.
Right. What's that all saying, right?
No, it doesn't really fly with this board, so
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah.
I just put that there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And Parge Foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Do people usually paint that when they're done, that Park Foundation, or do they just leave it natural, just the
You
cement?
can use a colored
You can
concrete.
tint it when
Oh, okay.
it's wet.
Yeah, you can use a
Mm-hmm.
concrete. It's colored. Sandra, do you have any further
We have any
questions?
questions?
Susan?
The neighbor who wrote the letter, is that the adjacent lot?
No, this was actually for who submitted
That was-
comments by email because she could not be there.
Yes.
So she wanted a letter to comment.
The decking material,
Looks like a Trex type of composite?
yes, you mentioned that, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
That'll be like a gray,
Okay,
it'll match the rear deck, will be the same.
okay. And I think Sandra, you asked if railings on the rear deck will be treated in the same fashion,
It'll match the
PVC or
front.
AZEK,
Mm-hmm.
AZEK material, okay.
And around the bottom of the deck,
Mhm.
same way.
Are you running that front porch boards across the front of the house or front to back from the steps to the,
I'm thinking long ways, left to right.
more like a deck?
Yeah.
someone would like to make a motion?
Yes, I shall.
I'd like to make a motion that we defer this for a month to talk with our new planner and our planning board about the consistency and recommendations from this board
Relative to deciding?
relative to materials used in the historic district.
I totally understand, and
We have a new planner coming.
I'm sympathetic, but we're still constrained by, and Larry,
There's an adopted ordinance that does not prohibit vinyl siding.
Correct.
And never has.
correct. And,
Because that's what they told me when I started this whole process, that was the first thing I asked.
right,
To have a
so we're
budget.
looking, right.
And that's exactly what they told me. They said we'd like you to use like a hardy plank or wood, but there's no regulation right now.
Right,
There's no, I mean, they'll ask you to use that type of material. They'd like you to use it, but there's not. I mean, so, you
And for
know.
that reason, I think we need to have a
We've-
conversation and a meeting with minds on that.
we had a meeting with the planning commission a year ago, or maybe 10 months, and to work towards reconciling that. That decision now rests with the planning commission, and that hasn't happened yet. I'm sympathetic to that, but the
Are you
reality,
planning to break ground on this project?
Very soon,
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as we can. I mean, what they told me what the process is,
30 days after.
yeah, after this meeting, then it's approved, and yet you have to wait 30 days
30
to
days
get the
to
permit.
begin work.
Right.
That's correct.
Yes.
So there's a 30-day.
Mm-hmm.
But Larry, so the planning commission would have to, if you don't mind, just bring Susan up to date on where that stands in the process. It would have to,
Well, I read all the
Okay.
history, and I read all the minutes and all the notes on it.
okay, well, the town council has to also approve that
Right.
change. And so then
We have an inconsistency.
well, I realize that.
Yeah.
It's a glaring inconsistency.
And as another board member stated, we start a slippery slope. We
This
continue
wouldn't be
to
the-
approve
this-
plan after plan
Well, this would,
before we can.
that horse is out of the barn already, unfortunately. If the planning commission would adopt the language we have in our guidelines and remove that inconsistency, then we start from a blank slate, in my opinion. You know, it's been at least 10 months since we had that joint meeting between the Historic Review Board and the Planning Commission to discuss just this.
And how many applications have been filed in that time
I don't know.
for this material?
There's been,
Growth
few.
is going.
but the reality is, so,
The board's wish to prohibit vinyl siding is found nowhere other than in the board's wish. It's not found in the actual district, it's not found in the zoning ordinance, it's not found in appeals to the town council. I remind the board the appeal that went to the vinyl clad chimney,
correct,
which was a unanimous decision from the council to override the board's decision. And
So you're saying this board has not made application to the town council?
no. And it would be dangerous for text amendment. Because right now, if the decision of this board is to defer this application, the applicant can appeal it to the town council.
that's correct,
Text amendment or no text amendment.
correct. But the Planning Commission has to correct that in their zoning documents, correct?
That's the process to amend the zoning ordinance,
Yes,
which does not prohibit vinyl and hasn't prohibited vinyl.
correct. So we're left with, we make a motion that we either approve or not this project. it could be based on that inconsistency. But then the applicant has every right to go to the town council and
Yes, he does.
seek redress. So that's where we're left. So, any further questions for the applicant? I have none. If there's a motion, this would be the time to voice it.
I make a motion to defer the application
For,
30 days.
okay, a motion to defer for 30 days this application. Need a second?
I'm not going to second it.
Okay, so motion has not been seconded. We'll need to move forward with another motion, one way or the other, to approve or not this application.
Can I say something, or, I mean, I
No,
don't
go ahead.
disrupt
Please do.
your,
Please
so,
do.
I'm a licensed electrician, I'm a contractor, I do a lot of work around here. I understand following rules, I get it all the time. When I wire a house, and I tell that customer, I have to put a receptacle in your beautiful island, and they say, I don't want it, and you're like, I have to cut a hole through your beautiful piece of furniture and put this outlet in, because that's what the code is. And they do not want me to do it, and I say, well, man, if you don't do it, the judge comes along, he's gonna fail it, because we have to follow the rules, whether they like it or not, you have to follow the rules. And so every 3 years, the code changes, it's a national code, every 3 years, we have new changes. So right now, this is, what is November, well, as of January 1st, we're following a new set of rules, a new code book. So when I wire houses, there's a couple new residential codes. So right now, if I'm wiring a house, I can't tell that person, you have to do this or that, even though I know in January the code is coming up. Even though I want them to do it,
Right.
but I'm saying, as we stand here now, and I'm wiring a house, I'm following the rules, even though I'm like, you know, maybe we should run a couple extra circuits, because in January, we have to do that to better wire your house.
Mhm.
And they say to me, well, I have a budget, do I have to do it? I'm like, you don't have to, but I'm really trying to tell you it's a good thing to do.
Right.
So what I'm saying, I understand you guys have rules, but I think when you have these meetings, you should just follow the current rules. Now, if you want to change the rules after this meeting, and the next meeting's in December, January, and you have a new set of rules, whatever those rules are, people walking in the meeting, they understand what the rules are. So that's all I'm saying. I went into this whole process, I spoke to Larry on the phone, and I had some questions, and they said that this is what the rule is. You can use vinyl siding. They don't want you to. One of these days, they're going to change it to that where you can't. But right now, that's what the rule is.
Oh, no,
And that's how, that's how I look at it.
And as I said, we've approved new construction with vinyl siding because of this irregularity, which would lead to the applicant coming before the town council, very, very likely, and rightly so, because the zoning ordinance states that vinyl, there's a list of materials that list as inappropriate, and vinyl siding is listed as appropriate. In our new guidelines, we restrict the use of vinyl siding, such as you want to use. But because of that inconsistency in the zoning documents supersede our guidelines, this is why we've done that. So, no, as much as it pains me to approve vinyl siding, not just for your project, but for most all the new construction that we get in this town, because I think it is inconsistent with the town and the look, you know, we're stuck in this place, as I mentioned before. So with that said, do we have a motion either to approve or not this project?
I make a motion that we approve the application for construction of a new single-family dwelling on 500 block of Jefferson Avenue.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for approval of this application. Do you have a second? I'll second it. All those in favor? Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. Okay, 408 Randolph.
Good evening, Sean England.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your project.
Yeah, we're gonna do a siding retrofit and a new roof. Hardy siding. I don't know if you guys have these pictures available, but on the front porch there actually is a shake detail. We're gonna follow that shake detail. We're also gonna follow that shake detail up into the gable of the main house.
So on the gable of the porch roof, there's a shake,
Correct.
and you're gonna, okay, so that's gonna get followed up in the gable of the house.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. We Hardy shake as well.
Can
New
I just
roof,
see that close?
30-year architectural shingles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can see the slight striations in the siding there. It shows it is shaped. They like to follow that detail, which is a common detail in the picture.
Yes.
You can actually hold on to those because you'll see that the red circle chimney, we're also asking to remove that. It's a defunct chimney. As you know, they leak incessantly. It's not doing anything. It's not a predominant feature of the home. It's very rarely visible. So,
Right. Is there not a chimney all the way to the back of this house too?
now it's right on the side. You see that?
I see
You've
this.
got this one. So you've got this one. No, it's not. That's it.
Okay, just the two chimneys. Okay. Okay. So the large chimney supports or used to support a fireplace or something like that?
It still is. We're going to repoint that and
Okay.
bring it back to life a little bit.
So this one probably, this was one for a furnace?
Yeah, cold,
Boiler or
whatever,
something.
cold in, whatever.
Right.
You know, it's one of those undersized, almost totally unusable chimneys.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, can I enter?
Yes,
Eric's
please.
comments into the record? At 408 Randolph, unless there was a structural reason for the removal of those two fireplaces, I would not be in favor of this action.
We're only removing the single.
I
Yep.
just have to.
And I just want to clarify that we're only removing the single unusable stack, not the main one that is aesthetically pleasing. And removal of unusable chimneys, which is pretty common.
Do you know if that rear chimney is the same age of brick as this one on the side that you're,
I have
no idea? Because did I understand you to say that you're retaining this chimney and you're gonna be able to repoint it and repair it and that sort of thing? Is that not possible with the other chimney?
Well, that's an aesthetic feature of the chimney. That chimney that's there, that's a porous brick, anything's possible. I mean, you guys tore a chimney off of this structure here, which was one of the historic structures in Cape Charles. So it's, tearing a chimney down that's in the rear of a house is common practice in town. It's been approved by the board.
If missing, okay. If we always do things the way we always did things, we'll always get the same result. At some point,
I'm just
we need
voicing
to
precedent.
look at
We have precedent, so.
What is the visual, historical,
Correct, and that chimney's
architectural
not
elements?
big.
When you look at those two chimneys, when I look at this elevation and this perspective, I see two chimneys.
I'm not arguing, I'm just saying it's precedent, so everybody judges what they can and want to based on precedent.
when you replace the siding, that will be all four sides of the house?
Correct.
All the way around?
Yep.
The existing window and door casing to be retained, or?
Well, no, we were gonna wrap it exact. The windows are replaced already. They're gonna stay, but we're
Okay.
going to mimic the
Okay.
existing trim details.
Okay.
Yeah, as you've seen us do many times.
Window
Yeah.
and door casing. Okay. The boxing, the fascia, soffit, freeze
Yeah,
board.
once again, mimic with AZAC.
Okay. And then up in the gable front, and I'm assuming it may carry around to the eave side, there's a crown molding that would be
Or
replicated.
mimicking as closely as possible. All of those details, yes.
Okay. The front porch, post, and,
I believe the posts are actually going to stay, but where for some reason they would be removed, we would obviously mimic those in
okay,
a composite material, like a fiberglass composite.
okay,
Painted, there would be no real way to tell it wasn't wood.
okay.
Any other questions?
The condition of that small chimney to the rear, is it,
I mean, it's defunct, it's falling apart, it's non-usable for code reasons, it's sand, mortar, so it could be repaired probably, but I mean, to correctly structurally repair a sand, mortar chimney like that, you probably pretty much have to knock it entirely down, start from the bottom and go all the way up. The sand and those bricks at that time tend to be porous, so they tend to leak constantly.
Susan, any further questions?
No more questions. I'll make a motion to approve the application for 408 Randolph. Replace the siding with the shape profile hardy sided, but I would not recommend removal of the chimney.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. And a second.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve application as submitted without removal of the small chimney toward the rear of the house. So the chimney would have to be repaired. Okay, we have a motion.
We will see.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay.
All right, thank you those for those items.
Yes.
Thank you. Glad you have these via email, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, did you?
See you guys.
Yes. Opposed?
Wanted to make sure.
Thank you. Okay, approve of change. Gotcha. Okay. 547 Mason Avenue. State your name, please. Go up front.
Arnold Fugue,
Okay, tell us a little bit about your project, please.
it's 547 Mason Avenue. What I'd like to do is replace the window on the right-hand side with a door and insert a 3x5 window between the two doors. It'll have trim that'll be proud of the walls.
The house currently has vinyl siding
Yes.
on it. And this is in a residential, commercial zoning district?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. And your intention is to have like a residence on the second floor, living space on the second floor, and commercial space on the first floor?
Yes, sir. A retail space.
Retail. Okay. So the vinyl siding would be retained,
Yes, sir.
and, excuse me, I know the building's in rather poor shape right now.
That's correct.
So you would replace vinyl,
I'd probably replace vinyl in the front at first because we'll take out the window and the door. The porch will be replaced as it is, probably with a railing around it. Have one set of stairs going up to the porch.
as currently,
Correct.
okay. And so the one door would then just be to serve the second floor residential unit?
Correct. And the door on the right will be for the retail space.
Okay.
What other retail is in this area?
Can I ask, I'm just curious, what's your proposed use, what type of retail?
I've been a furniture maker for the last 30 years, and what I thought I would do was use it as retail space for handmade items and also furniture.
So Larry, can you bring that into that area? Yes, okay.
Were you planning any other repairs on the house? I noticed on the west facing side, the left, looking at the front of the house, that there seems to be some issues with the sills that rest on the.
Yes, sir. At this time, we're entertaining to replace the sill with either raising the house and doing a full, we haven't decided yet which way to go, but to either raise the house, have a professional house lifter raise it, or replace it, and if it's raised, the sills will be replaced, probably a solid wall will go around the bottom to keep the cool air out of it. If we don't raise the house, we will replace the sill and replace the brick columns. And we'll replace the brick columns probably cinder block.
Okay. And then,
And the house, of course, will have to be brought up to code.
correct. All right, the front porch post may be the original post, so they would be retained, and then
Yeah, we would sand them and
possibly railings between, because I don't think a code requirement is going to require you to have railings there because of the height of the grade as it sits right now.
yeah, but we just thought that it would be
Right.
more appealing to have the
Well,
rail.
it would. Okay.
So it'd be whatever you recommend, either do a railing or do without a railing. It doesn't really matter to us.
Okay. The work on the house sill, and I didn't go around the back of the house, so I don't know what the condition is in the rear, but that would be covered with vinyl siding, because there's gonna be some, it looks like it's missing several courses of vinyl siding between, on that side, between where the house sits on its original foundation.
It would probably be like a white, either metal or vinyl, I don't know what area you call that, but between the bottom of the house and the ground.
Okay, so like a skirt board.
A skirt board with vents in it to keep animals out from underneath the house.
Okay, but all other visual elements of the house, as presented tonight, excuse me, will remain, correct? The vinyl siding, it looks like it's either got vinyl or aluminum soffit.
I think it's
fascia.
a plastic soffit.
Yeah.
I don't know what that material is. It's
Sounds
probably
like
vinyl.
vinyl, yeah, I guess. Okay.
The intention is to put it back the way it is now,
Mm-hmm.
and then get it tightened up. And then, like the front, ideally should have, if you don't have any objection, take off the vinyl siding around the new doors and windows and have that mimic, with 1x5 or 6 shiplap. So part of it will be wood. When you look at it, it'll look like wood and new, and then the sides will be the existing vinyl side.
Good vinyl, okay. So under the porch roof then, when you install a new window, install a new door, you'll fill back in with the wood siding.
Correct.
Okay.
Wood or hardwood,
Okay.
whichever you
Right.
prefer.
Okay.
That's basically going to change the whole look of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But for its use, retail space on the first floor, and then a residential use on the second floor. Does this, I didn't walk around to the back, I'm assuming it has a back door?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Has a back door and stairs going up to the second floor in the back.
And so then so the need for the window replacement with the door on the first floor is?
Well, it's going to be a retail space. If I keep it looking like a house, I'm not getting the traffic in a commercial place. And the rest of Mason Avenue is huge windows, and I thought that would be conducive to what's on that street.
How old is this house? I didn't see.
I believe the tax record say 1920, but it's older than
Okay.
that. I would say 1895 to 1900, but I'm not sure.
Do
It
we
was
have-
on the 1905 map.
Okay.
And there was in the past, I think it was a livery on that property at one time.
Okay.
Do you have any historic photos of it?
No, but there are some around. There's a gentleman that came by that works for the town water department, and he said that he made reference to an aunt or an uncle, or an aunt that had lived in that house, or a relative of his, and she was the keeper of photographs for that family. And it's always been a two-family, whether it was legal or not. We preferred, and we bought it as a two-unit because it had 2 air conditioners and 2 meters. And this is our compromise, is to have retail on the first floor and retail, or residence on the second.
I
I love the idea, the concept of the adaptive reuse for
Mhm.
commercial and residential. I think that's a very logical use for the property. As it stands, I would venture to guess that the current front door is not the original front door.
No, absolutely not.
Right,
No,
and if you are making changes to the elevation, you're talking about possibly doing shiplap underneath around
Sure.
the window. You're contemplating this landscape shaped retail window in the middle between two doors. I think it could be really helpful in making contextual design decisions if photos exist for us to reference in photos.
Does the town have any, does the Historical Society have any photographs of that part of the town? Do they
Well,
keep
they
records?
they have a pretty extensive collection of documents and photographs of the town.
Would they be in the library or where would they be?
The Historical Society's building out on Randolph Avenue, or excuse me, Randolph, Stone Road.
Yeah.
They may have photographs.
If it was a commercial business before, a livery or something, you might actually find
Oh,
could be
signage or
selling
whatever?
handmade furniture and handmade craftware. You may actually find something really relevant to not only your home and slash business, but that speaks to the handiwork you're going to be selling there.
Maybe an image of a horse. Yeah. No, really, because it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
livery and a horse, you wouldn't, and people would go, why do you have a horse here? Well, that's what it used to be.
People had to come and go and do business there.
Yeah,
They
Or a
probably
big
had a shingle
pecan,
hanging
isn't it?
out or
Yeah.
a sign or other
Yeah.
cues that it's a business. The only, I would beg to differ with you that the only way somebody would know you were a business is that if you had a plate glass window in the middle.
yeah, that's why I wanted to do it, with the lighting and to be able to distinguish from a home. Now, what is the rules on signage? As far as what, is it a size restriction?
Yeah.
Can I hang it between two of the posts, or how would that work? Or is it,
Larry, do you know offhand?
I do, obviously, sign ordinance is signage is under the sign ordinance. Signage is a speech issue. It's not a design issue.
oh, okay.
Right?
It's a what issue?
It's a speech issue.
Speech, okay.
I'm really not interested in you coming back and suing the town council.
Oh, okay.
I'm really not interested in that.
Okay,
So
so
I'll tell
I
you,
got the ordinance.
what your signage speech rights are.
Oh, okay.
Don't obstruct pedestrians, don't obstruct traffic, don't obstruct the line of sight. In Mason Avenue, your commercial is 12 square feet.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Can't be backlit. Has to be front lit.
Oh, okay.
If I'm not mistaken, signage was removed
Yes.
from the revised design guidelines precisely because this board really has no jurisdiction over signage.
That's correct. What's the, maybe I missed it here, the lot size, I guess I did miss
It's 29 by 140.
it. Okay, I see that, 29 feet wide. So you basically, you have no side yard.
Well, it's split. There's, for some reason, the driveways on the left and the right seem to have been shared driveways. I don't know if that's because there is a driveway curb cut on both sides. So
Mhm.
really it could be used to get to the backyard as long as it's half owned by each property owner
Right.
on each side.
Okay.
So as long as your neighbor didn't complain, I would assume that you could drive through there to your backyard if need be.
Okay.
Do you have specifications or photos of the doors that you're proposing?
No, the window will be handmade. I'll get a double pane window. I think I put in there, the window would be 3 feet high and 5 feet wide. And then I would make the trim around it proud of the siding and probably 4 or 5 inches wide, probably 5 inches wide. Okay. And the doors, I guess I'd have to look at that period. Do you have a door that is preferred, certain amount of panels or anything?
That's where I think photos could
Yeah.
Yeah,
be helpful.
we have, in our guidelines, we have different building styles and with photographs taken of homes in town, of various time periods. You could kind of look at and get a sense of the door arrangement. It could be, it certainly wouldn't be a flush door. It would, it could be a door with some window lights at the top. It could be, a 4-panel door or something like that.
Now, what design would you call that house to you guys?
It's a simple frame Victorian.
Just just
Is that what it would be?
Yeah, just a very,
So it would be Victorian?
yeah,
Simple.
but just
Plain?
Plain.
extremely
Right.
plain, almost farmhouse style.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I like the idea, I see where you're going and all of that. I feel that at this time, it might be best to make a motion to reject this application until such time as you might be able to return with some photos, some detailed elevations, some specifications on the doors and windows. And we can deliberate more specifically, other than I'm saying it's a 3x5 window.
Okay, well, the window will be handmade, so if it's, can we say it now that it would have a 5-inch surround, or do
I'd
you want
like
to
to see it in
restrict?
the context of the whole elevation of the front of the house. You're in a prominent position there on Mason Street. Not only does it fall in the historic district for historic district review, but you're also in this Main Street district, which is,
Has no jurisdiction.
I know it has no jurisdiction, but what happens there may or may not impact the future economic development of the town because you happen to be on Mason Street. I would say at this point, since no money has been spent yet, this is a good time to just dig a little bit deeper and come up with some elevations, detailed
Okay.
elevations that we could vote on.
Oh, he
So a
has
front elevation of
And
what it would actually look
specifications
like
on the
when it's
doors.
finished with the actual dimensions of the door.
Or
I think what you're asking me is for a front elevation of it with a description, a fuller description of the door that would be used.
specifications, if you're
Okay.
ordering a door from somewhere, a link to see it,
Okay.
and historic photos would be helpful.
the current door was like a 6-panel.
Right,
I
that
know
was
it's
the
not.
original.
Oh, no, I know that. This is a 6-panel door.
It's a 6-panel colonial door, isn't that what you'd call it?
That's what that is, yeah. It looked like the house, it looks like perhaps it may have had side lights at one time.
Yeah, it's a kludgy thing, absolutely. It's not,
Yeah.
it's a very old door. I mean, old new.
Yes, no, I understand. I understand.
Okay, specifications of the door, the siding. And there's, right now, there's soffit underneath the porch. Is there any?
Is
you
that a
can't
vinyl?
really
It's a
see-
vinyl
It's vinyl
soffit.
and it's full sheets and it's not, what would be better? Beadboard, is that what you prefer to see, or
Well, there may very likely be beadboard underneath of that.
it's just the framing of,
Oh, okay, so that's,
it's just the framing of the porch. But the porch shape looks original, right? But-
yes, yeah. And I suppose, you know, if you decide to elevate the house, if you have a house mover come in and elevate it, would change, you know, that's gonna change the whole appearance of the house, just because it's gonna sit up higher. I mean, I understand the need for that also. There's a one kind of, the next block to the west on Randolph that was raised a month or two ago. New foundation, it's sitting on its new foundation now.
That's basically what I'm mimicking. Is, you know, it has the same piers, the same appearance that house does. The one they just set back down.
Yeah, more complete, yeah. Yes, if you could pull that information together for the December meeting, just a more complete application, especially since a lot of these changes are, you know, the railing may or may not be done, the window, the door schedule. If the house, you know, if you decide that the house is going to be elevated, that may necessitate the need of a railing on the front porch. So those are some things that would be helpful, just a more complete application.
What is the date of that meeting?
18th.
December 18th.
Meet everyone by December 7th.
Yeah. Let's see, I have to go, I'm having a prostate cancer appointment on December 17th, so I'll be out. I won't be here on the 18th. Can I submit this before or just wait until the January meeting? Do you have the date for what it will be in January?
I can,
15th.
yes.
January
It's
15th?
every third.
Okay,
Sorry.
why don't we do this? Just expect me to show up January 15th. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll have the front elevations, I'll try and find some photographs. Is there any houses in town that you can think of that have either been restored that are of this style that I could go look at if I can't get any historical photographs?
I'm not too personally hung up on the historic photographs as much as I am, because you may or may not find something, but just a more detailed drawing of what what it would look like. And I think if you drove around town, you probably could find something that would look similar. You're not going to find something other than a larger duplex with two front doors, with two doors on the front. I can't think of any. But you would find, you know, there's homes of this sort scattered all over town. I can think of several right on Randolph. They look different because they have more of their decorative trim on the front porch and that sort of thing. But
In proportion, that'd be their
Yeah.
two-story houses
yeah,
with a steep pitched
absolutely,
roof.
absolutely. This is a common style in town.
Yeah.
They look different because of the work people have done to them over the
They
years.
dressed them up. This one was never.
They've dressed them up or undressed them.
Yeah.
This
And
one's probably been undressed.
This one's been undressed.
It looks like it, I would guess.
Yeah.
It probably had more architectural elements on the front porch. Certainly, you know, looking at that little vent in the gable in the attic area, it probably had a window there at one time. So, yeah, you'll be able to find plenty of.
Yeah. And if I change all that, I'll try and I'll try and find something that's of the period.
Yes, that would be
Because
fine.
that's just the way
You know,
I do things.
You know, I've yet to find any historical photos of the house that my wife and I live in.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's just the luck of the draw. If you do, you do.
Yeah. But there sure are a lot of restored houses in town, so
Yes.
it's going to be one that, you know.
But this is it's going to be a great reuse, and it's nice to see somebody doing something with this.
Yeah, it was, you know, we've done, we just finished a house in Eastville. It was the heirs rectory that they donated to the Hunter's Episcopal Church. And we're in the process of restoring that. And we did a 1906 house before that. And just, we always bring it back as close to the original as we can. We just have to take this in steps.
Right, I
So
understand.
that's why I want to do the front. The front will have a really nice facade because we have to change that. And then we'll work on the outside and the inside.
Okay. So we need a motion to hold this over until the January meeting. I guess we want to specify in the month. But to hold this over until such time we have a more complete application.
I second that.
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
no, I made motion, that's fine. You have a second. So, okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Very good.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks very
sir.
much.
Good luck with your
Thank you.
medical issues.
Thank you for waiting.
Unfinished business.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, you need to go back to.
Oh,
Mrs. Amy.
I'm sorry.
You said
Yes.
we would refer to it at the end.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so how does the board wish to treat 616 Strawberry Street? Mr. Manning, for whatever reason, is not present to present his application. The same is the case for his application for the 300 block of Washington Avenue. My suggestion would be that we hold those over until the December meeting. I know Mr. Manning attended the October meeting in error. I suppose he thought these were on the agenda in October, but here they are in November. So I would submit that we should hold these over until the December meeting. Mr. Manning's present. I'm not comfortable discussing this without the applicant or the property owner in attendance.
I second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Very good.
Mr. Chairman, is there any information, in fairness to Mr. Manning and the property owner, is there any information this board would like to have in advance so that the man what time is wasted another month when it comes to December? People are entitled to this procedural due process.
Oh, no, I agree. I can't think of anything in particular.
Photographs, audio tape, anything?
No, I can't think of anything in particular.
I'll let the property owner and applicant know.
Yeah, I can't think, other than just our questions we seem to routinely ask.
There's been some non-routine questions tonight. And requests for data.
Yes, sir.
Typically not required either.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I can't think of anything.
Fairness to the applicant, if anybody thinks of anything, please
Please, you can.
contact
email
the
me.
clerk.
Yes. So I can then contact the homeowner or the applicant and Mr. Manning.
Thank you. Okay. Now I'm ready for unfinished business. 653 Monroe. May I say your name, please?
My name is David Giannini, and I'm representing Andrew McCoy.
Okay, if you want to tell us why you're here, Mr. Giannini?
We're here concerned about the chimney at 653 Monroe. And we're seeking to remove the front chimney. We had been approved prior to remove the rear chimney from the property.
Did you bring any pictures by chance?
Well, I have a picture, and
We could probably pull it up from, that was last month's?
correct. Well, it was the previous one.
Previous, okay, so September.
So, here, I'll let you blow it up. But you'll see the rear is to the left, the front is to the right. Seems like he ran a few extra courses of brick on the front one to make it differentiate. Because you had mentioned prior that there was something special about that chimney.
Well, it's got a certain decorative element to it versus just a square stack.
Sure. Well, and they porch them as well, so you can't actually see any brick
Yes,
exposed.
that's correct.
So the reason we're seeking to take it down is number one, safety. And does everyone have a copy of the engineer's report?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And this is a wide scope report of the whole job, but the part pertaining to the chimney starts on page 2. It's mostly now near the bottom, and I'll just read from the report. We also observed that the chimneys are leaning above the ceiling and through the roof. The lean does not appear to be occurring below the second floor ceiling. Wood bracing has been added, and what appears to be an attempt to further prevent leaning of the chimney.
You mentioned that, I believe, at the...
Well, the prior meeting, and I'll apologize for that, we were doing 2 applications at the same time. And we were thoroughly informed on Jefferson. As far as Monroe, it was tentatively, the information. I did not bring the engineer's report at that time. So that's why I'm including it now. And I've had some time to go over there and observe the property closer. Referring to the report, and that's correct, that front chimney is definitely leaning and being supported. Now, tied to that, and you might not be able to see it in that photo, but the roof has to be completely removed and reframed. And the reason why, they use 2x4 rafters. And the original roof, as you can see from the side, was a pressed tin roof, lightweight, so it could handle that. Over time, there's accumulated 3 layers of asphalt shingles on that roof, and it's caused failure. So
The roof's got, if that was a boat, it would have a lot of hog in it.
correct. So in the process of doing that, and we're going to have to try to stabilize that chimney as we're redoing that, and that's where the danger comes in. And also, just as a matter of, if we were going to save the chimney, we'd have to take it down anyway, to a certain point.
Is that
And also the foundation, if you look at the report, there's issues there. And we feel that although it is different from the front porch, the front chimney does have a different feature. There's nothing really about it that is really extra special, especially in the neighborhood, when you look across the street at the nice houses, and those chimneys, the brick is still exposed. And as someone previously was stating, these old bricks that they use leak. So I guess that's why it led them to porch that at some point. And the flashing job's horrible. Third point, which may or may not concern you, the floor plan, also is designed around, removing those chimneys as well. Because they're not going to be functional or anything.
I did note that in the engineer's report, they talk about the bearing wall being offset from the first floor and the second floor.
Correct.
There's an offset. Is that due to where the chimney runs up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And you were going to correct.
We will be able to correct that, exactly.
Right. Does that chimney stack run, and I'm assuming from your picture, it looks like it's a 24-inch square or 18-inch square stack?
Something like it's close to that.
Okay.
And they're both similar, other than the decorative type feature on that front one.
But well, I guess what I'm saying is, so that stack runs all the way to the foundation.
Yes.
It's not large inside the house, it comes up to a...
No, it comes up and then it's veering off.
Makes that lean, which is...
And if you look at the third story, which is the attic space,
Yes.
that's at least 10 feet. I mean, it's not small.
That's a full...
So it's up there. And another, observation, presently we're working at Jefferson Avenue. I noticed across the street a chimney collapsed during that wind event we had.
That's correct.
And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, that's, and it's probably 8 feet projecting, unsupported, obviously, because it's above the roof line. But I have a great concern of safety. Like I said before, when we're up there, we have to, repair that roof framing as well. And that's kind of what they've got, kind of saddled in there, tying it in to keep it from getting worse.
Just refresh my memory. When you replace the porch, or excuse me, when you replace the ceiling, or the roof framing of this duplex,
Yes.
you're going to basically take the current roof apart, or are you going to sister?
We will sister if we can. See, I'm not sure yet till we actually get up, because some of the existing rafters are actually cracked, and someone attempted to repair them.
I read that in
And I like to add, not very well.
That's why I asked the question, because I read that in the report.
And there's such a memory in the old ones. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to, without just removing it completely.
So there's no knee walls in the attic now?
No.
It's just,
Not at the present.
they just stretch those 2x4s.
Exactly, and when they added the shingles over, that just totally sealed its fate. Because I was quite surprised to see that. That somebody would even entertain the thought of doing that without sheathing the roof.
Okay. So what, what's just roughly, not, obviously I haven't gone into the third floor of this building, nor is that, nor would I request to, but what's the offset roughly of that chimney? From, you said it comes up,
Sure.
and
3 or 4 feet.
that much?
Just off,
Yeah,
from
okay.
the lounge
So if you're
right
standing
there.
at the bottom, as it goes up, it takes that much of it.
It's quite a bit.
Substantial. Okay. It's all brick below the chimney line, or the roof line? I'm assuming?
Yes, it's a brick chimney, like I said, but it's they have a porch coating on
Yeah.
the exterior, so.
Okay.
And there's quite a lot of structural framing we're gonna have to do as well, because it doesn't meet code as it is. And,
Yeah. Well,
which we are going to do.
the engineer's report. Yeah, it's a nice complete report.
Yeah, we've used him several times.
16 chimney with a 1 foot offset.
What page are you looking at?
61.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, 16.
Page 2 of 5 of the report.
Yeah. That's the bearing wall. It's a 1 foot offset. Bearing wall in the first.
Right, and from the main beam, the bearing wall that
Yeah.
is there now was offset. You can actually see where the old guy put the plate in, and they didn't use that. So,
Okay, but that's the bearing wall. It's
absolutely in the center of the house. That's all.
The chimneys.
Everything.
The chimneys are 16-inch brick chimneys. And the wall is offset a foot. Okay.
Now, when we encounter a design that's on the exterior of the house and the chimney's exposed, obviously, we do everything we can to save something like that. And that's advantageous in a builder's aspect, because when you come up through the ridge and interrupt it with, you're weakening the structure. And a lot of times they would pass framing members through the actual chimney bare in that. The flue would miss it, but still.
Right.
And as they settle, they bring everything down with it. So we're trying to address those issues and restore the house to, you know.
Sandra, questions? We've already, in this September meeting, we already approved the removal of the rear chimney.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Which was just a straight square stack.
Here's the picture of the original.
Right, that's the house as it is now.
And that was the old one that was removed.
That's the, right.
We haven't removed any
Which is-
chimneys as of yet.
Which is slightly more decorative, but as Mr. G. says, it's been parged, so.
So that's leading me to think there were issues with the mortar and in general up there for them to do that.
That would be,
Like an attempt to keep it together.
that could be a safe assumption to make. I mean, it's not, certainly not uncommon to have chimneys parged
Mhm.
to keep them from falling apart. I've seen that a bunch of times. So I didn't see where the engineer specifically, unless I missed something, recommended the chimney be removed. He just points to the fact that it would be something extra to work around, obviously, and that it is lean and held up with whatever bracing is underneath of it, underneath of that offset.
Well, they would have to be taken down and rebuilt anyway from a certain point. whether it be all the way to the foundation or at least from the second floor.
Mhm.
So if we get approval, our plan was just to take them down all the way. And that would facilitate the floor plan. We wouldn't have to make any compromises there. And, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if the board does not approve your request to remove the chimney, how will you go about, how would you go about making repairs to the chimney, as it exists through the roof line?
As I mentioned earlier, we would have to take that chimney down and then rebuild it, so it was not on, if that's what the board decided.
They both come right through the ridge, correct?
Yes.
They're not offset to one side or the other, I don't believe.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, I've worked underneath and around chimneys of dubious quality before in another life, and I certainly understand the safety concerns when you have that much brick hanging up in the air over your head while you're trying to work underneath of it safely.
Correct. Yeah.
I also am cognizant of the fact that the board at the September meeting, I believe it was the September meeting, allowed the project to move forward with the removal of the rear chimney, but to save the front chimney. So we're shy a couple of board members who participated in that discussion. Obviously Sandra and I are here. Sandra, do you have any opinion one way or the other? And I'm going to ask Tracy if Mrs. Strube made any comments regarding this application.
No, this chimney, no. No, sir.
Okay.
I hate to see
Hey, we did save the metal roof at 532 Jefferson, and we are using hardy plank. So I mean, we're trying to.
No, I understand. No, I understand. And again,
And as I said, I wouldn't willy-nilly just tear chimneys down for the sake of tearing them down at all.
But I am very cognizant of the fact that you're going to have a crew in there working underneath a chimney stack of dubious quality.
Has the chimney been inspected for the integrity of the chimney by a chimney expert?
I've had contact with the mason I use, and he's looked at it. He was stating similar things to me about the stability of the chimney and what it would take to stabilize it, and that's expensive work. And I mean, the roof alone was kind of you don't really pay attention to it when you look because it's black, but when you look, you go, oh my gosh, and then you go, oh no, so we're eating that one.
I've looked at that roof several times, and
And at first glance, you don't really know, and when you look at it and you see it, though, it's unmistakable. It's on both sides. And it's actually causing, you know, more problems now because the water's pooling and coming off in that spot, and it's undermining the footings, the fountain, you know, water's entering the house. So we're going to solve that with gutters, is one way, and of course, you know, reframing the roof, obviously.
I can totally understand what you're saying about the chimney, because I have a historic house in town too, and it moves about 17 inches. I had a Mr. Tate from Sheridan.
Okay, yeah, he's a chimney guy that right services, cleans and checks them out. I
So I was
use him
redoing the third
extensively.
floor, and truthfully, I could have used the room in the third floor without it, but it's structurally sound and it's part of the history, so we're leaving it. But I had another thought while we're here, which was I was at the Barrier Island Center on Saturday.
You saw their famous chimney?
And they're rebuilding that chimney, and what I'm wondering is if you did have to disassemble it, then the parging would have to be taken down. Would you reassemble it with the historic brick in the same pattern?
Well, I don't know, because the quality of the brick, for one, you know, whether you want to reuse something that's not gonna, you know, it's
gonna be hard.
It's gonna be hard, and then the mortar. And see, the big issue around here a lot of times is some of these masons went to the beach, quite honestly, to get that sand, and that's a no-no, a big no-no. And you'll notice some of the mortar in town, you know, in between houses, especially, scoured out by the wind, and that's a definite giveaway.
I think it would be, and I don't want to speak for my fellow board members, but I think it would be the desire of the board, it seems like, was to retain the chimney. And it seems like that still, or it appears that way to me, sitting here hearing the questions and comments from the board, that would be the contention tonight.
Just to keep the chimney.
Is to keep the chimney. And as I said, I'm totally sympathetic with the fact that, you know, it's an unpleasant thing to work around and hang up there like it is. You know, the engineer did not. There was several recommendations at the end of his letter to you. You know, several recommendations. He made recommendations for the interior and for the exterior. But aside from calling out the chimney that it's offset.
Well, let me just enter one more thing.
Go ahead.
Because the central beam that's supporting everything is right beside the chimney, and those footings are connected. So, I mean, the weight of this chimney is, you know, coming in. And it's not a substantial footing under the chimney.
I'm sure it's not.
And this house was laid on the dirt, which is a lot of these houses are. Maybe 12 inches down, sometimes it's 28, but like I said, the ground has been saturated with water over all the time, and that's what's causing the failure. And so the remedy for that, you know, is you have to get underneath of that footing. I mean, we're talking a JES type of thing, you know, and they're not cheap. And when I've had them out before, they have to put at least 15 of their little piers to justify the cost of even doing a project like that. So, I mean, that's something else to consider. You know, so we'll repair, and then over time, this thing's just going to keep on sinking, pulling everything down with it.
No,
And the beam is under the stress as it is. If you see, he's recommended, you know, adding steel to the sides of it. I can't even get over to this side because it's so close to the, you know. Because I've taken up some flooring, inspected.
Yeah, I see that the main door of the house be reinforced
Correct.
with continuous steel angle to each face of the door.
Now, see, last time I didn't have this knowledge to be able to impart to you, so.
I think that we should make a recommendation that we have our board back next month and discuss it, because we all agreed we wanted to keep the chimney, and now we're in a situation where we're sitting here. We do have a lot of facts right here in front of us, of course.
What's your timeline?
Recommendation to reject the
I'm
application.
kind of right there at the moment of truth, to be honest, so.
I just think we should table it until we,
Well, if you'd like to put that in a motion, we'll have a motion on the floor then.
I think we should deny the application until our board is back together next month. The December meeting.
So,
Does that mean I have to delay my project for a month?
that would, if that motion, and I'm gonna say, you know, we would hold this over until we have the board members present who voted on this at this September meeting.
And
Retain that chimney.
so we approved one chimney coming down, and the front one was not approved because of, it has a little bit more of a decoration to it, correct?
That was correct. We did not have this,
But it's, you know,
And it's seen by the street, it's the front.
well, the back one's
It's the
seen
front
down the
ele-
street as well.
Front elevation.
Right,
this house is on the corner.
right, correct.
May I see that picture?
You just scroll, there's one.
So if a motion is made, I wouldn't necessarily state that we deny this application. Aside from that, we would want to, again, hold it over until we have more information. Although we have, in my opinion, we have some more information from the engineer's report.
Is it the board desire to seek a engineer report on its own,
A chimney is
on
very-
behalf of the town? I'm trying to make sure that we have a procedural due process here, because there are a lot of irregularities to tonight's meeting.
Say that again, Larry.
There are a lot of irregularities
No.
procedurally at tonight's meeting.
I understand. Say that
So
again.
does the applicant need to have an entire quorum? Right now, the board's in session with a quorum.
Yeah, it is.
So will the other two members need to be here before this applicant can receive due process, or one of the two?
No, because you're correct, because we do have a quorum, and
I was gonna say Robert's rules, you have a quorum and
Correct.
you can't deny the application just because you want certain board members here. Had one of the board members who have been spoken on record tonight wanted to say something, and the other board member, and I have emails proving that. That's why whenever a board member tells me they're not going to be present, I write them back stating if they have any objections or recommendations or any spoken words on the applications, they send them to me, as Ms. Drew did, but she
Ms.
didn't.
Drew remains silent.
She remained silent on this.
On this, okay.
Silence implies consent.
So in that case,
So-
we reject the application based on the fact that it's previously been brought to the board and was voted to.
Well, we did not, when this was previously before the board, we did not have an engineer's report.
Right.
That's correct.
And we have,
Yes, I made the recording.
no, you want to just, you're, okay, Mr. McCoy.
Yes, sir.
You're the engineer?
No, I'm the homeowner.
Oh,
Work with David and ask for the engineering report as well.
okay. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I think with the engineering report, typically what the engineer is trying to tell us is that there are specific areas from the building inspection side that we need to address, as opposed to, he's not going to make necessarily safety recommendations to us. He's not going to be an expert in what is safe and what is not. So I think what we're asking from you is to consider the safety of this, really. Our properties, we try to make good quality across the board. We've done a number of houses in town. My background is architecture. Try to keep things architecturally as similar to the location as we can. There's no question. The chimney itself, if it's not used, and I appreciate what you had in your house, I'm not sure, did you actually have to have framing to hold that up as it went at an angle? That's the question I would have, because they've done kind of a supplementary type of framing to just kind of hold it in place. I mean, it's one of those situations. And I wish I had a picture of it right
Historically,
now.
they were built at an offset
I
to
see.
help reduce the draft. So some offset is not necessarily a regularity, but
Absolutely.
an extreme amount could be from the bearing,
Right.
the roof bearing down on it.
Right, it's an issue of trying to figure out how we can do this as safely as possible, but also kind of keep what the nature of the area would expect. So we've tried to, in our application before, we tried to address all the concerns with that. I think this was something that we had hoped from the beginning that it would be very obvious that it was something that was a safety issue. Now we have the engineer's report to kind of show that it's being held up. He's not talking about safety in here at all. I understand that, but it is one of the situations where we're concerned about it.
Well, like I mentioned to Mr. Giannini, when I had a historic restoration business, I had the pleasure of working underneath tall chimney stacks like this too, and it was never comfortable. Some cases, those chimneys had to come down. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that we approve this application to remove the chimney based on the engineer's report and the safety concerns as expressed by the contractor and homeowner.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the discussion, yes. May I just add one comment? I know it had nothing to do with this. Is it okay? Is it off the record?
No, you're on the record. If you want to read a few minutes, I'm going to open it up for public comments.
Great.
If you can see it all.
Thank you. I'll do that. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
Okay. Other business. Tracy?
No, sir.
announcements. At this time, if there's any public comment, you have your 3 minutes. If you don't mind, again, just stating your name for the
Yes, sir, yeah. My name is Andrew McCoy, homeowner for a number of properties. I guess my question would be, and hope moving forward, is some clarity from the Historic Review Board on a couple of items. One, in regard to chimneys especially. Just going through this process has kind of given me some thoughts on it. And just so you know, my day job is the department head for the Department of Building Construction at Virginia Tech. And then I also direct the Center for Housing Research for the state of Virginia. So if you have any questions, I'm an open book. I'm happy to give you my card, so that if there's any other questions
Thank you.
down the road, I'd be happy to pick up the phone anytime.
Okay, thank you.
One thought would be if there is a set of criteria that allowed us to understand safety might be a top criteria. That these are the reasons why we believe that chimneys actually should be taken down partially and rebuilt, or taken down completely. Something that kind of is a guide. And I know that often we don't want to try to put ourselves into a place where we can't, where we restrict it too much. But at the same time, I think if there were some that were kind of critical items, then I think that's something good to know. The other side of that would be alternatives. I mean, I think tonight what I wanted to talk about, if we got to that point, would be, listen, we are very happy to give a look and to have the intent of what it is. It's just that there we have an unsafe piece that we're working with. So can we, what would be alternatives can we design and work with you towards an alternative? Happy to do that. So just to consider as a group that you have in your mind ways that as a homeowner or as a contractor we can work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Good points.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments? Okay. Any announcements from the town?
None.
Okay. There being none? Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
I jumped the gun. I'll make a motion to adjourn the November 20th, 2018 Historic District Review Board meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed?